Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time, welcome to my channel. I am Michelle of All Things Notary by Michelle, and I am the owner of You Say So Mobile Notary and Signing Services here in Tennessee. And just wanted to just take a quick minute to say hi. I was preparing some documents for a signing that I have today, and I thought I'd do a video on kind of how how I prep my docs. One of the things I know when I first got started that I did was use, these tabs. And I just tabbed everywhere that the customer or the buyer needed to actually sign. If you notice, I don't know, can you see this here? Those are some of my tabs, so because I will reuse them, excuse me, to save on office supplies. So when I'm done, I would just take the sticky notes, take those off and put them right back on my computer so that I could use them for the next signing. So here's my packet for today. It's only 99. It's only 99 pages. For me to do. When I am prepping my docs, I go through them just to make sure that I'm familiar with every one of the forms that's in here, because different title companies and lenders have different requirements or different forms. 80% of the forms are going to be the same, but I always go through. And one of the first things I put on the top of my stack, no matter where it is in the pile, is this Patriot, the Patriot Act form. Because the first thing I'm going to do when I get to my closing is I will ask to see their identification. And so I want to make sure that the name, the address, and date of birth is the same. I'm going to ask the customer, the client, for their social security number just for them to confirm that. And then I will write their ID information. One of the worst things to do is get through the closing and realize that, oh, the customer doesn't have a valid ID, when it's actually one of the first things that you should actually ask for. The second document that I pull to the front will be the closing disclosure, also known as the CD. Because also, again, you want to be able to go over that closing disclosure with the buyer or the seller, because you want to make sure that the information that's within that document is what they agreed to. Sometimes I've seen where the numbers are different than what was previously discussed, and so we have to get title on the phone, and then they may have to send out new documents or whatever. So this one has 2 closing disclosures, and let's see here. I always like to see. I have noticed that before in the closing disclosures that there were 2 in here, and then sometimes when there's 2. Like this one, both of their names are on the closing disclosure, the signature page of that. But I have seen in the past where there's been one of the signers signs the closing disclosure, and then the second closing disclosure has the other buyer's name on it. But nonetheless, this is the second thing that I pull up is the closing disclosure. And, I say, hey, your loan amount is, let's say, $150,000 at 2.8%. Your payment before your taxes and insurance is this. With your taxes and insurance, you're going to pay this amount. And then your cash to close is this. Or you're receiving, money back. So that's the second document, the closing disclosure, that I want to bring up. And just to make sure I'm not like, hey, does that sound like what you talked about or you discussed? And they'll say, yep, that does. And I'm like, all right, well, let's sign it. There's 2. If you can sign as your name is printed, then we'll go ahead and get started. And then I'll start with the closing disclosure. And then I bring up the note and the deed so that they can sign those two, because for me, of course, those are the two most important documents in the packet. So I don't use those tabs anymore. On occasions, I will, if there's something I have a question about or whatever, I may put one of those sticky notes there. But for the most part, I don't even use them. But when you first starting out, it may be a good practice to use it so that way you're not missing anything. But for me, when I'm there, I go through every page of the document. And then I also, after I go through it, I also double check it when I'm done. I'm saying, hey, just give me a few minutes. I just want to make sure we haven't missed any signatures. Sometimes we miss a signature. Sometimes there's an initial that got missed or something like that. But one of the things I used to do is I used to give the document to the buyer, right, for them to sign. And then they would hand it to the next person, and then that person would just turn it over. I have learned through experience to not do that anymore. I keep my stack, to the left of me. Let me see if I can bring this down. Well, no, you won't be able to see it. Oh, crap. Sorry. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so I, after the other person signs, I take the document, I look over it, make sure the signatures are there, and then I turn it over, excuse me, and put it to my left. And then we go on with the next document. And that way, that's a way for me to kind of double check and make sure that the signature is there. Excuse me. What's wrong with me today? And then I still don't, even though I do that, I still will double check it before I leave just to make sure. And there may be some people who don't have to double check. Excuse me. They're, maybe it's that just choking me. Some people may not have to double check, but me, I'm going to double check, and I'm going to recommend that you double check, because there's nothing worse than scanning these documents back if it's required, and they're saying, oh, you missed this, you missed that, you got to go back. For one, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your gas, you got to print the documents over, so you're wasting toner, you're wasting your paper, and then you're inconveniencing the customer, the buyer as well. So those are some, just some little tips that that I have for right now, because I'm about to head out to my closing. So I just wanted to kind of share that information with you before I left today. Sorry, I got flyaways everywhere. I need a trim. Nonetheless, I'll finish this video, or maybe I'll do another one later when I have more time. I have 3 closings today, so I may not be able to get to it till this evening, but I wish you the best. Happy closings to you. Again, if you are new here, welcome. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. If there's any videos or anything that you have a question about, drop it in the comments or send me a message, and I'll be happy to work on a video or answer your question for you. Hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.